I always like this music, so I'd like to start the broadcast with that. And welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament, and this is a bit of a nostalgic broadcast, due not only because I've got to record it a week in advance because I'm going on a brief holiday, but also because this was a project which I was always going to do sometime, and have finally found finally made a plan to do this. The theme today is old school, and while Tyr Protoss is not really as old school as you'd think, although Simon Prince has been around for some years, the focus on in this match is going to be on Andrew Smith, and Andrew Smith's bots, also known as SkyNet, is still one of the better Protoss out there, and today we'll be featuring a couple of games of Skynets, and I'll show you how Skynet can still kick ass, hopefully. I didn't watch this game in advance, but it's hopefully will show strong play and cool stuff no one else is doing yet. The thing is that we lost Andrew Smith somewhere in 2013, haven't heard anything from him since. Or the last recorded message is from a couple of years ago that he said, well, sorry, not going to send a new entrance for us, one tournament or other. I just haven't had the time to work on it. And as is, it's one of the few bots from the 2013 era that is still active on the server, and I don't know if it's going to be uploaded to CIG and IDE as well. But for now, we are very happy to have it with us, and of course it was one of the bots which used to do a touring of the enemy base, thus taking two probes of mineral mining. And there it goes again, just tagging one and taking it along on a wild goose chase, maybe speeding it up just a little bit. And as we can see, it's not perfect. It did choose this choke for home defense, not realizing that there is a neutral mineral with 0 minerals in it, which can be placed with certain editors on this ramp to make the pathfinding for these bots a little bit more interesting. And we can see that Tyr is either more advanced or just taking a more general approach to blocking off the base with a forge cannon build, not a forge fast expand, because then you'd like to have it here. That's a lot of cannons, good day. But so far no real ghostiness yet, and this looks to be a 2-gate into a zealot push. We've got about 8 and more coming, 8, 9 zealots. Of course there will be a number of cannons with the 2 gates of Tyr Protoss as well. Not really going to work, I think, especially since you have got to take the defender's advantage into account. And this is just going to be a zealot push, augmented perhaps by a little bit of goonery, and no expansion. So this is one of the builds that the standard Blizzard AIs do as well, just gather a bunch of units and march them over. The 17 zealot push is still very, very deadly, and Skynet avails himself of that with a small improvement, and another probe is going out to scout, so keeping close tabs on anything just to make sure the enemy hasn't got a superior army. And by now the army is, well, almost double for Andrew Smith, and there we come. So the first goon is going to have a quick reconnoiter and keep his distance, but between this ramp, the cannons, and well, it will be a hard fight, but Tyr's units don't really seem to be fighting, and behind that push, that's very good time to take an expansion. Now Skynet's got the concave at the bottom of the map, and luring the enemies back, that's very good. It is not based on, it's a standalone bot with all of the functionality by itself, and you can see the supply differential is there, will remain there for all intents and purposes, but the important thing is that Skynet has almost got its expansion up, and that this battle isn't entirely successful. All the goons are still there, and zealots are being traded left and right. Tyr is not building any more probes, just going full army production, and the armies are about similar in size now. But for now, the micro at the bottom of the ramp is in favor of Skynet. and it's just targeting every 2-3 goons that come down the ramp, and you can see that the army supply for tier Protoss is dropping like mad. Natural is up, third being taken, and this is going to be just a very hyper-aggressive build with some added tech, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gateways, 6 gateways, and the push here is succeeding because there is only a couple of zealots left, and of course SkyNet would have liked to have some zealots of its own, but this is just a very well planned build order. Initial pressure, preventing the enemy from taking a base, and then even succeeding with the pressure because you've got superior micro at the ramp area. So very well done for SkyNet, and I think that even with the rallies, Simon Prince's tier has got its hands full. Now with the Forge, with the Citadel, and more tech coming up, I'm going to speed it up just a notch because 1x faster speed is just not really good enough. And the goons are going to run away with this. Third base nearly completed, probe count is equal, but then again tier Protoss only got one base which is mining out. It can't possibly support this war of goon trades. This cannon will probably fall, and look at the micro against that zealot. The cannon going down and tier just holding on for dear life, and SkyNet deciding, well, it's had enough. It's not really going to, but then again wrapping it up, and that is 2-3 more gateways. Very compact building, but not really building itself, not really cutting itself off from units being able to make their way out. And lots of tech and a lot of gateways. So 3 bases up. For the time being, that is enough. And tier taking expansion, that must be said for tier, that it knows when it's running out. And oh dear, you see mineral patches disappearing. It's got a nice small army, but it will be a 1 base versus 2 base soon, and that is not going to be all that happy. And even then, this base isn't nearly finished. So 3 bases for the time being for SkyNet, and look at all these gates. That's just going to be one big pump. Could take 1 or 2 bases more, and tier decides that it's time to move out. But I think with the army difference as it is, no, he hasn't even managed to contain SkyNet at the bridges. The army of SkyNet is so vastly superior. Let's have a small peek at the upgrades. Oh, we're getting Storm. Upgrade-wise, I think it's about equal, tier having the better upgrades, but the army supply is vastly in favor of SkyNet, and now with an extra base, this can't possibly go well. The army of tiers is being dismantled, and all these gates will be pumping units, and this death train looks not to be stopped. You'd need a hardcore Templar switch and perfect storms, but this small pocket of units is not going to stop the wrath of SkyNet. And will we see High Templars? Yeah, we will have one. Oh, and this, no, well, it shouldn't be stuck. It should be able to move out. Yep, there it goes. And it's got Storm, but the question is, will there be any units left for it to storm when it arrives here at the front? And tier trying for dear life to hold on to keep the yellow menace at the bridges, but here we go. Now we've got Goon in among the workers, and yep, there we go. And that must be said for SkyNet as well, that it is using Storm, was the very first Protoss to do so, if not for one of the other Protoss in this broadcast, but it is very complete, it's very rugged, and you can see it's keeping its money down, it's keeping the pressure on, and look at all these gates and all the tech. It's just going to be one big mess. Now 2 Templar in there with a little bit of energy, but as tiers mined out, that's the GG, and we're going to go into the next game. And let's keep things together, let's have another SkyNet game, and this time versus a an opponent which has proved itself a little bit better. It's Martin Royaker's Literbot, and Literbot, of course, is one of the later generation Terrans, has put in a lot of work to make his bot as good as it is now, and we're going to see what SkyNet's going to do. Is it going for the same pressure build again? No, doesn't look like it, because this is a core, and dispatching of the scouting SCV. Oh dear, Literbot having a little bit of problem with getting its SCV back in. Obviously the gate's working only in one direction, but this is a 2-gate goon range and presumably pressure build versus Terran. Might work if there are no tanks. You can do a lot with that. 1, 2, 3 goons coming up and more to follow. So that's also a very aggressive build. Of course this SCV is going to fall because it has no really anywhere to go. There is one tank now with siege mode, and these goons are done for, because with a wall, with a couple of marines and a tank with siege mode, these goons are never going to get up there, especially not with a second tank. And after losing a couple of goons, SkyNet has had enough, taken expansion and leaving off the pressure, so decision making wise very okay. Litterbot, of course, having taken a command center, is determining whether it's safe, has amassed a small army, so is now going to expand its dominion over the natural area, and has located this choke where it's going to take up position. Will there be an SCV transfer? Yes, of course, more gates being built. So you can see that compared to Tyr Protoss, that Litterbot is a little bit better, and it also expresses itself in the way it's going to play. So although it was again a pressure build by SkyNet, this time it will be all about later gameplay, and I think it's going to have to out macro this Terran, because with the tanks and oh dear, that's very good. Bunker here as well for some extra security, a couple of medics. I think this is going to be some kind of a hybrid push by Litterbot, stimming for I don't know what, and SkyNet is going for a third very good decision and not attacking with the army it has. And something that should be noted is that it always has a large standing army. Now it's moving out, but you see a lot of bots just macroing and teching up, but not having any forces to fight off the enemy. Litterbot has oh dear, dear, dear. Now going to siege up, and these goons will have to make their way out of there pretty fast, because this tank position is just way too strong. You're not ever going to get in there with a gateway army. And perhaps this bunker may fall, but all these units here are in tanked range, and with the medics and the marine blocking them off, it's not going to be well. The bunker falls, but you can already see that the supply difference is equaling up. Litterbot doing a lot of damage with these tanks. The zealots aren't even reaching the tanks anymore, and the entire army almost of SkyNet is going to go down, but the third is up, and that is important too. So the production capacity is still there, has been expanded again, and more tech again. So although the attack was a bit of a Waterloo, no, it's not a Waterloo, it's more like a Battle of the Somme, just lots of dead, nothing gained. And Litterbot is just massing tanks, massing bio, going to be a huge ugly push, and if I were to face that as a Protoss, I'd like to have at least 6 bases or perfect clutch storms, but we're going to see if SkyNet is going to be able to do that. You can see already the army production is there, and Litterbot is going to be overtaken. Of course, the army value with all the tanks and the marines and medics. Oh, here comes Litterbot. Here comes Litterbot. Will he pass? Yes, he will move out, and this probe will spot it. So that's pretty well done. And we've got the first High Templar. So that's going to be needed, because this Terran army is going to be... Oh, and they tear straight in with the zealots in the tanks. The bio isn't there yet, and because this is such a big Congo line, a number of tanks is killed at the loss of some goons, but now this Templar is there, and will it storm? Yes, it will. Lots of marines die, and it will now have to retreat. We've got another Templar, another storm perhaps, and ooh, that storm didn't really hit anything, and now Protoss is under a lot of pressure. Litterbot just going to be supporting this push with everything it's got. The Archon has got 0 shields left and preventive transfer of probes from this base, but with this tank position, Litterbot is in a prime position to take this match. And that's the few big engagement that SkyNet chose that it couldn't possibly win. Might have built a couple of more Templars, but then again, what do you do versus a bot which is 3 years younger and has comparable time spent in it, on it, and that surely is the game. You can also see Litterbot take another base behind that, so nothing wrong there. Couple of marines just to secure it off, and look at this Congo line. It's a lot of marines. You don't see that a lot, marines and tanks, but it's a very effective combination, and it's going to play havoc with SkyNet. So that's the GG. Then we move on with another favorite of mine, and that is Whopper by Cernclet. And although it's not really as good as some of the other old school Terrans out there, it deserves a mention because it's so very solid. And as an opponent, oh, let me do that the other way around. This is Whopper. WOPR stands for War Operations Planned Response. That's a 1984 film with a lot of horrible children in it. But it was all the rage about thinking computer planning, engagements, and what to do if the enemy does that and whatnot. It's a boring film, but it's an okay name for an AI, I suppose. And Oyvind Johansen, the random bot, going for a little bit of marine pressure. I doubt, well, it's okay to keep an out on the map. I doubt that it's going to be very successful versus a bunker with an SCV repairing it, and yep, there you go. So, without too much investment, and that is a very fast command center. Whopper going for mech. It's a mech only bot now with the tank, and all the bio that's going to come out of Johansen is going to be cut down mercilessly, one can imagine. Will there be... is it just going to be bio? If it's just going to be bio, it will be a bit of a pain because... oh no, we've got a factory somewhere. Bio versus mech is usually very ugly, and you can apparently keep up in supply for a long time, but these tanks are just going to kill marines with a vengeance that you don't normally like to see in somewhere else, like a World War I tournament or something like that. It's just going to be ugly. Whopper now with the extra base up as well, and with the Goliath just playing it very safe. Oh, there is a tank now too for Johansen, and Johansen, no, that's a Wraith, that's not going to be a third. Pew pew pew. And Whopper not being as reactive as it should, losing 2 SCVs already, and keeping the enemy contained, taking a third. And Whopper will have to do something about that, because this SCV is killing SCVs about as fast as they can reproduce, which is a bit of a drain. And you can see the supply for Johansen get out of control a little bit. Couple of tanks, couple of bio units, and we've now got 3 Wraiths here. And that says something for the reactiveness of this old school Whopper that isn't really paying attention to that. Are there Wraiths here as well? No, there aren't. And Johansen is just taking its time, just posting units all across the map, having a bit of an abysmal army supply, but with 3 bases up and all. Oh, we've got 4 now, 4 Wraiths and a Matrix SCV. But by now there are so many Wraiths that they can just take on a Goliath as well. And we've now got 3, so that's a bit of a bummer. And Whopper taking a third as well. So I really wonder where all that supply for Johansen is. Well, it's in SCVs actually. It's almost 80 SCVs and 24 army supply. Of course, this is a nuisance, and Whopper would really be wise to do something about that. But as it isn't really that adaptive, it isn't. But this mech push is gathering, and once it rolls out, I think Johansen will have a bit of a time to stop that. And finally a Goliath is coming in, cleaning this up, but not before a lot of SCVs have been killed. Oh, and we see a battle cruiser for Johansen. I don't know what that's about. There are way too many Goliaths already, but you never know. 3 base versus 3 base, and the main difference is that the worker and army supply are a bit crossed at this point. Johansen having a lot of workers, that's really something. And Whopper just being all about unit production. And here comes the death push. This battle cruiser sailing calmly into the natural. The one Goliath is going to try to stop it, and I don't know how effective that's going to be, and he thinks the better of it. But this mech push is making its way to the Terran base of Oyvind Johansen. Oyvind, of course, playing random, will have a hell of a time stopping that, but with a couple of battle cruisers, I think it might be effective, especially as there is one here as well. But this bio core is just dropping like fleas, and this battle cruiser is doing a lot of damage here. I really don't know what's going on, and of course bringing back tanks to deal with the battle cruisers is not really going to work. 3 Goliaths will do the job probably. 1 may die, probably will die. And now the push will be back on, and you can see that Whopper, with a small portion of its army here, is controlling the map. Of course, it's got a bit of an issue with battle cruisers and being quick to react, but now you can already see that Whopper is ahead in supply, and it is very hard to take down a mech push like this. The tanks are so strong, and if you look at the upgrade, it's the 2-tooth plus 3 weapons already done. And if you take a diversified approach to the game like Johansson did, it is going to be a bit of a muddle. Oh well, it's not going to be a bit of a muddle, but if there is a concerted neck push like this, oh, that's pretty pro, but even a Matrix or two won't save that battlecruiser for being dismantled. And Whopper take another base, so that, oh, and a battlecruiser of its own, that's pretty pro. So with any luck we'll have a battlecruiser on battlecruiser match. Not mass battlecruisers, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen mass wraiths yet. Of course the largest number of wraiths I've ever seen is about 10, so that doesn't really count as mass wraith. And Johansson going to be cut off because this base is not mining, that base isn't mining either. And although there is a smattering of mech and bio units hiding here amongst the ruins, it's not going to work, is it? Because Whopper is all over this. And although its worker count is fixed at 60, looks like, I think it's got the match well under control. Let me see. Oh, the battle versus the battle of the battlecruisers. And trying to micro versus a battlecruiser, that's not really how it's supposed to be done. No support from a Goliath. Oh, here comes one, but the battlecruiser of Johansson clearly won that. Nice matrix on that Goliath, but then it should be kept firing at that battlecruiser, making its way across the ramp, the mech army of Whopper. So that is the GG. So I thought, well, let's have another game of Whoppers. And yesterday, when I finished the broadcast for last Sunday of July, I saw after I finished recording that there was a Whopper Zerg, and I thought, well, what the hell, why did I just miss that? And now in my old school theme we've got today, I could have the original Whopper by StarCraft play the new Whopper by StarCraft as well, I must imagine. Haven't spoken to Surin yet, but I can safely assume it's he, I presume. So that will be a brother battle to the death. And I, of course, with all the knowledge of the past couple of years and the genius that is in StarCraft, I think that's going to be a formidable Zerg. Then again, this bot, this Terran, is so very robust and so very powerful that it will be a hard fight for any Zerg to break it, especially if you're as new and as green as Whopper Zerg. I can't imagine Surin having let these bots duke it out a couple of times on his own PC, but we're going to see how it's going to play out. A couple of Sunkens. That is a lot of Sunkens, and I don't really agree with that, but just a lot of money wasted. And although the worker count is okay, that's 5 workers, might have taken another base with that. And hello, what have we here? We have a couple of Muters, and they are moon flying walking over the spire, perhaps gathering up. And we see that Whopper has seen it fit to place a minefield here in case, I don't know, and fortifying its natural. So it's a 2 versus 2 base operation with an overlord here, and supply wise it looks to be okay. Whopper Z a little bit behind, and I really wonder what these Muters are going to do. So no bio play, it's just going to be all mech from Whopper Terran, and Cloaked Wraiths, always a good choice. Is that going to be a physical labs or a covert ops? Must wait and find out. It looks like a physical labs. These Muters are really jittering to the edge of the map. I hope they don't fall off here. That with the command spam that appears to be going on, there is no telling what they will do. They might just get instantly deleted or do something else or morph into battlecruisers, I don't know. They seem to be bouncing back from the wall. Oh dear, oh dear. And I think if you're going to play 2 base Hydra, that is not really the way you should be going about that, because that is a lot of Muters. If we take stock, we've got 14 Muters with an insane amount of APM, because they're all flapping about here, and Whopper just sitting back, taking its time, and more Muters being made. couple of more drones too, so that gives us hope for the future. 33 workers is okay, and slowly rising. Same thing going on at this end of the map. And the minefield here is looking as pretty as ever. Whopper Terran is just sitting back, massing a push. And it will be interesting to see what this muter ball is going to be doing, because that's a lot of muters. We've got 23 muters, and they're all in a tight stack, so no telling what they can do damage-wise. Oh, and they now come... Oh god, look at that. The damage of these muters is insane. They're one-shotting everything, and if they decided to get the grips with the raids, with the muters, they are doing a lot of damage. And you can see the Zerg supply isn't nearly falling. They are doing just so much damage to these Goliaths, to the tanks. Finally now losing some supply. Of course they need some kind of detection, and the damaged muters are going to congregate over there, and now they're going to flap around here until they damaged enough. Oh, perhaps they might draw these raids onto an overlord and kill them. Yep, there we go. So now the muters might actually be going back to town, and there are still a lot of muters. One-shotting a couple of Goliaths and dealing with these tanks pretty quickly, despite the huge armor that they've got. They've got the plus... No, they haven't only got weapons upgrade. So that's pretty well done. But with the 2 base Zerg, you got a nice muter stack here, damaged. And a nice muter stack there, a couple of mines in your face now. 3rd base being taken for Whopper and the battlecruiser. So I hope that these muters will come off it, and they are actually pushing a cloaked wraith out of the way by their incessant stacking. And now they finally kill it. Oh, they found their way, and if they're going to see this base, perhaps they will attack it. Yeah, there they go, and look at how quickly these SCVs are falling. That's really... not only due to the 4 times the speed, this is normal speed, but they're one-shotting everything, and it's all secondary damage from these muters, now primary as well. So the 3rd is going to go down in record speed, a couple of SCVs die too, and although Whopper is going to do a push, that is almost 40 muters, and now they're going to go after that push, mopping up the rear guard. The question is, will they come in time to save the natural? And look, they're going to town on these battle cruisers. Oh god, the damage potential of these muters is insane, and although they take their sweet time in doing things, oh god, once they get to business, it's really something, because they took down the 3rd. Zerg might take a 3rd as well, but this muter cloud is getting bigger and bigger. It's now 44 muters stacked, and it's going to be a bloody mess, I can tell you that. I still got to give it to Whopper Terran in the end, because it's got a 4 base going and the main of Zerg is nearly mined out. And once ever, I don't think Whopper Terran does irradiate at all. Still building a lot of tanks. And these muters are just, oh god, slowly drifting. Perhaps they might hit this base, but I think by then a new push will have been assembled and making its way over to the Terran base. There they go. Yeah, oh god. And look at how quickly they are dismantling it. The main push is there again, but accidentally these muters have found a base and are now making their way over. Oh god, how many have we got? We've got 49 muters in tight formation, and this wraith doesn't even have time to cloak. It's just going to be going down. Oh god. And this push is spread out like mad. The battlecruiser, let's see how the battlecruiser will fare. There are some Goliaths, but 1, 2, 3 volleys and it's gone, and now the Goliaths will be going to pieces as well. This muter stack is so very powerful. Whopper barely losing any muters at all, and the tanks are going to go down once more. These muters are so omnipotent, it's really a beautiful sight to behold. And that is really how you play Zerg, just build a lot of muters, keep them tightly stacked. We've got 50 now. A bit of a googly having this tank here in your probe line, and I don't know what these muters are going to do. Perhaps they're going back to this. Oh, this is just sad. But then again, it's entertainment value. This one tank probably will mop up, and Whopper Zerg will be taking back a base which is still undefended. One irradiate might do unlimited damage. 54 muters, and this command center is not long for this world, I can tell you that. The muters don't seem to be attacking all of them. And this one tank is still killing all the drones here. That's a bit of a pity. But now these mutas, and I can only hope that the muta stack will be kept in place. This battle cruiser getting nearly one-shotted. The natural is down. There is a tank in the drones. This is a GG. So yeah, what more can you say? What can you say about that? Whopper Terran is on a bit lowish supply, but it's okay. This one tank has done the job already, and this mutable is fairly ineffective. So let's get on to the next game. And the next game is Roman Danielis, and Roman here playing as the White Protoss, of course, surprised me by being the first bot using Disruption Web, and that's quite something for a bot that hasn't been updated in 3 or 4 years. As an opponent for this game, I picked Mete Istnik, which is a very good Terran, although a bit ancient as well, but it's got all the functionalities. It can macro, micro, it's got bio, mech play, it can do a lot. So for a first introduction to Roman Danielis, that's pretty good. And you can see it's going to be a 3-gate with a little bit of zealotry going on. That will be another pylon, and the zealots are going to enjoy themselves. A little bit of a bio thing going on for Mete Istnik, and with some upgrades then switching into mech, always good. So with a handful of bio you've also got a defense handy, and that's an expansion pretty quick for a bot that old, especially for a Protoss, so nothing to complain about. And the zealots are moving out. The band of brothers taking the field. Of course, versus this Terran army you can't really do anything, but of course you can always claim some map dominance, kill a stray vulture here or there. That's always a good idea. And then, as you can see, no pro transfer. That was a relatively modern invention. But lots of gates, lots of units, and that's also characteristic of these older bots. They like to have a nice standing army, not over-teching too much, not over-macroing too much with a lot of workers. It's always going to be a balance with workers and standing army. And here comes the Terran push, and what will Protoss have to face this? Because numerically they're about even, but with all the Marines and medics. Of course the medics are a bit in the rear-ish, that's not good. And that's a bit of mine in your own face, and that is characteristic that you've got a bit of a line here and a line there, and they're tearing into each other. The zealots getting the grip with the Marines. This army lot might do a little bit more to quell the uprising of the Terrans. Istnik behind that taking a base, and the Protoss army being shot to pieces, but not before taking out the tank. And that's a bit of a draw, I would say. So now it's going to be 2 versus 2 base, and we saw earlier a 1 base Terran versus a 2 base Protoss was a draw. So in the long run, got to give it to Terran. And will we have any kind of tech for Mete Istnik? Probably, because we now have a robotics bay, which can build a shuttle. It needs some more buildings to do stuff with that. And Istnik now has a couple of tanks. It's going to suffer a little bit of pressure. Army-wise, it's about equal, so with Marines and Medics and Siege tanks. Oh, and even a good mine hit. I'm going to have to give this battle to Terran, especially as the Protoss units are, oh god, oh god, oh god. Although the tanks are without support, so a number of them might die. Ooh, that mine hit was pretty bad. And the tanks are untouched still. One may die. Yeah, one dies. But at the cost of the entire Protoss army, and Terran is coming out a net victor here. Danielis is going to... Oh, hello. That vulture got lucky. Is going to be a bit slow about the tech, because in the game where it did use Disruption Web, it took forever to do so, and it was only because it was playing that Johannes Kaiser, which built a lot of bunkers and nothing else, that it was able to do so. And Mete Istnik sitting back as happy as a clam in a shell, just macroing, building stuff. Army-wise, it's a little bit ahead. No third... Oh, here comes the third base. So you can see that Roman Danielis is a very complete bot. It can use, I think, all... Oh god, we've got the Corsair here. That's pretty pro. It's got defense, it's got attacking capabilities, it can attack, it can macro. It can defend its expansions, but it's a bit slow and sluggish, and you can see that these units here are not doing anything to stop the destruction of these goons there. And the push of Istanix is going to be enforced. Okay, third base being taken with the gas here, don't know what that's about. But now the Protoss will have a hard fight to take down these tanks. We'll do so in the end, so that's okay. And we've now got a Wraith versus Corsair battle. That's not something you see very often. The siege tank push, with a lot of hard fighting and lots of casualties, is being stopped in its tracks. The Zealots, oh, and we've got a Dark Templar too, that's always a good idea. Of course there is a ComSat set up, but the damage of these Dark Templars is pretty good as well. And now also defending the third, that's pretty good. And so Roman Danielis is a very complete bot, but it's not really as snappish as the newer ones are. And we've got now a Reaver, we've got Dark Templars, we've got a Corsair somewhere. And it's taken all the right expansion, not just going in a weird direction. Might do something about that, perhaps build a cannon or send one goon or something, but no, nothing of the sort. And Meta Istanik is going for another base, and the question is, will the tech of Roman Danielis be enough to stop the added production of Terran? Terran just going to make unit upon unit upon unit. No, it's harvesting gas from here as well. And the Protoss army is... Cool! That mine nearly took out a lot of stuff. That mine took out a lot of stuff, namely 2 goons. And the Reaver doing a lot of damage. But you're not really going to play Minesweeper with gateway units. You should be using... Oh, and that is going to be the end of that push. With a lot of Zealots and Dark Templars. All the units that Terran sent are gone. So for now, I think with a 4 base taken, that is a really good game by Roman Danielis. It's such... it could do with an Observer! Oh god, that is just such a lot of expensive damaged units walking around the map. Probe transfer now, finally, okay, I didn't even know it could do that. And a lot of Dark Templars. How many have we got? We've got about 8. And that's the army composition. And Istanik is going to stick to its marine and mech play. Protoss wanting to take this base, presumably going to kill that refinery for some more map control. And you can see Istanik, although the army supply is superior, a lot of that is in marines, and well, the tanks are okay. I presume wraiths are good too. But that's a lot of Dark Templars. We've got 12. Will we see Dark Archons too, perhaps? I wonder. And now they're going to tear into this Terran encampment here with all the Dark Templars. Is there a scan? No, there isn't a scan. Mines. This push here is cleaned up. A couple of tanks coming back, and the minefield is soaking up a lot of Protoss units as well. Oh, that Reaver really wished it would have a shuttle to take care of it, and the Protoss army is gone. So the Terran army is too strong, and Danielis has got a lot of bases up, and I think it's going to have a lot of production and technology too, but it's going to need a large standing army because this Terran war machine is going to get way out of control. Army supply wise, well, where is the army of Istanik? That's really strange. It's got a lot of gas, hasn't got a lot of minerals. It's only on 2 bases, so it's 2 versus 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. And Danielis might be looking to run away with this if it can keep its money down. Oh, and that's a scout. That's always good. I like that, just building all kinds of units, and look at the anti-air damage versus these raids. Now with a shuttle as well, I wonder what's in it. But these Goliaths and these tanks are going to do such an ungodly lot of damage. What's in that shuttle, I wonder? Oh, it's a Reaver. And the micro is a little bit off, and it shouldn't be hanging. Oh god, it dies. So that's a bit of a goo-glue. Base up, another base to be taken, I'm sure. Hasn't got the money, not doing so. Needs army, needs it now because Istanik is nearly doubling the army supply, and with all the tanks and all the Goliaths, all the fancy Dark Templars and stuff in the world are not going to save you. There are a lot of scans. Oh well, this is out. That one's out too, so if we get more Dark Templars, perhaps you can do something with that. And the Terran army is mulling about in the middle of the map. while the Protoss War Machine production is insane. It's producing so much, not really the right units, I'd say, but well, what can you say about that? The scans were out, so now we've got a couple of Dark Temp. Oh, we've got one. They should be spacing them out a little bit. Oh god, the damage potential of this Terran Death Ball is so large. And going to town on the few Protoss vassals still left on the face of the map. Cannons taking their toll, and the production. Terran's still only on 2 bases, so if Protoss somehow can wither this storm, the tanks are being engaged by Dark Templar. There is only one, but the scans are out. 2 Dark Templars now. This is good. This might be Roman Daniela's saving grace to do as much damage as he can with the Dark Templars and the cannons, and perhaps with the scout as well. There is no anti-air left. Oh, well, 1 Goliath. But these Dark Templars need to get to work now, because there will be a scan again soon. Yep, there we go. But all the tanks die. All the tanks have died, and they are being outraged. Oh, that's very sad for these 2 Dark Templar. The natural is getting low for Meta Istnik, and all the bases have got some kind of rudimentary defense at least. This one hasn't. It's going to be shot to pieces probably. But this one's got a cannon. This one got a couple of cannons at one place only, but that's not something you can blame it for. And you can see Roman Danielis pulling ahead in the army supply, because it's got the economy and its main is gone, but so is Terran's main, and then it will be a 1 base affair versus the map. And although this base has been shot to pieces and there is quite a large Terran army at this moment, the Protoss army is pretty large as well, and without Cloak, there are so many Templars and Goons and Zealots that this Terran army is dropping, and Istnik is falling in supply. It's only got about half the army supply now. Oh, and there we go. Disruption Web, that's so very pro. I like to see that. I like to see that more from new Protoss as well. And Daniel is pulling all the stops with Storm, with Scout, with Corsairs. And Istnik is out of this game, because the 3rd is getting low as well. The army is half the size of that of Roman Danielis. And wouldn't you agree that if I said that Danielis is a bit slow, although he's a bit slow, it's still a marvel to behold, because everything's there. Micro, macro, and Disruption Web. What's not to like about that? Here come the Templar, and they're going to storm. Oh, huge miss. Okay, well, you can't blame them for that. Even humans do that, and it's very hard to predict where the enemy is going to run. But now the Protoss War Machine playing Minesweeper with Dark Templars, of course, yeah, you can do that, but if you're that far ahead, the way to the natural is clean, the 3rd is defenseless, 2 army supply for Meta Istnik, and that's the GG. Oh, now even with carriers, so just pulling all the stops, presenting all the units, using all the spells except Dark Templars and perhaps Arbiters. Perhaps we'll see an Arbiter soon. Have we got... No, I don't think we'll see Arbiters because the tech isn't there. A couple of more cannons just to be safe. No cannons here, no cannons there. A couple of more cannons. So a very well-rounded Protoss, I must say. And going to call the GG, because we've got another game, of course, to show you. Where is it? Or is that everything? Okay, well, that's everything. So for the next game, I chose Thomas Weider, also known as Ximp, the carrier bot, which has been around forever and is still pretty dominant. Where have I got that? The ELO rank is such that it's still pretty high up there. So, oh, sorry. Still up there, and there we go with a nice bit of Terran music. It's going to be a beauty, and the question is, it really has not yet been beaten by generic play. It's only been beaten yet by hard countered build orders, and that's something to marvel at. And Steamhammer is now going to try it. It's going to do a macro thing with 3 very quick bases, 4 very quick bases, and a quick lair. And that's a good thing to do, because this cannoning off behind 2 bridges is going to help Ximp even more. But it's taking a lot of time to get the first group of 4 carriers up. and that will mean that you can make a lot of workers. Well, 32 is not all that much. 5 bases, and where is the army going to come from for Steamhammer? It's going to be Muters. Basically anything is a valid choice if you've got enough, but the thing is that carriers play havoc with the innate micro of most units, because it's so uncharacteristic. You've got a mothership unit with a lot of small interceptors with a huge range, which then disappear into the carrier. So if you are going to target one, it's going, if the carrier's here, if you're going to target the interceptor which is flying here, it will fly back, so you've got to move in of range, we're not attacking anything. And we'll see that momentarily. The carriers going off on the characteristic round the map way. As all Brood War maps are constructed, the bases are all along the outside, so if you're going to fly like this, you're going to find something eventually. And Steamhammer has got a lot of supply, a small army supply, lots of workers, lots of Hydras, and there we go. So the first base is going to be hit. Will it be defended? Another base taken by Steamhammer. That's really something. Lots of workers milling about here, appear to be stuck on this neutral mineral thing. But the base is being engaged, and now the Hydras are coming, and I'll keep it on 1 times the speed, because you can see that the Hydras are going absolutely crazy. They try to target the interceptors, and they are also trying to keep their formation intact. Now they're going after the base again, and once the buildings are under attack, they move back. So that's also something you've got to take into consideration. As soon as the interceptors are there, it shows just a bunch of units without damage. And that is something that's very confusing to an AI. It's not really registering the damage potential, but just only the actual damage that a unit can do at one time. And although the supply of Steamhammers is insane, it's got a lot of units, got a lot of Hydras. The next wave of carriers is assembling already, and although that these carriers are assembling in the middle of the map, now with a bunch of Scourge, the Scourge will face the same problem. This base still hasn't been taken down, so that's going for... And the Scourge are being picked off like fleas. Steamhammer's got the map, and the next wave of carriers is going to depart. And you're not really going to break in here, because that's just a lot of damage. And you can't really filter in a couple of units, only a couple of units at the time, so you're really going to need something like Swarm or something, I don't know. And here come the carriers. The next wave's there, first wave is here, and now finally the first Scourge are going to hit. One carrier goes down, and the other one's going to be hit as well. Where is it? Only shield damage, but now with the Hydras and perhaps the Scourge. But where are the Scourge? More Scourge are coming. So it's going okay for Steamhammer, as long as they're shooting at Hydras. Oh, one got caught off, that's good. You're really going to need a lot of Scourge, and these Hydras are flapping about like mad. And the second group of carriers is taking down the natural, the hatchery here. And the next wave of carriers isn't coming, because I think it's going to be Corsairs, because that's something you might exploit about this carrier bot. If it sees anti-air units, oh, and now the interceptor numbers are getting low. Interceptor numbers are getting low, which means that they can be picked off, and with Scourge and a couple of Hydras hitting, but now with the added, oh god, will they be targeted? Yeah, that was a very close interception by these interceptors, and I think the name gives it away. But now these carriers, these 3 here, can regenerate their much needed interceptor numbers. And we've got a group of 7 carriers in the middle of the map, having taken down 2 bases, and also with a bunch of Corsairs. And that was what I was telling about. If Ximp spots enemy air units, it will make Corsairs, and it will make a lot of them. So thusly diminishing the carrier threat greatly. But then again, with these Corsairs, oh, they'll be back, and only if anti-air units is spotted in the vicinity of these carriers, they'll come back and try to help these carriers. So that's something that may be... oh dear, here we go. The carriers have now found it, and they're also inclined to kill any production units which can or enable the production of anti-air units. Always going for the main power generator and then the tech, and that is going to be a sore blow for Steamhammer. You can see the supply getting out of hand, and although there are a lot of Corsairs, and by a lot I really mean a lot, it's basically Steamhammer also being hung up on these neutral minerals. These carriers are having a field day. The muters are not enough. The main has been torn down, and now it's 80 versus 162 supply. Ximp, of course, having mined out these neutral minerals. That's quite impressive for a bot that old. And it is building Corsair upon Corsair, and Steamhammer needs production, needs the larvae, building hatcheries everywhere. But where is the tech coming from? There is a Great Aspire, and that's going to be, I hope, a Devourer. What's that going to be? That's a pool, so it's been reset tech-wise. Will that be a Devourer? There are so many Corsairs and still a handful of carriers left. And that's a Devourer. But versus all these Corsairs, you really like to have something else than a Devourer. But the carrier count is going down. I think there are only a handful left. And although they do pretty well, there are more coming here. Ximp has made a bit of an overinvestment in Corsairs, I would say. And what's it produced? Oh, it's switching back to carriers. So after a while, if the air threat has been deemed to be insufficient, it's going back to carrier production. And that's how you fare versus one of the better bots of today. Just pure out-carrier them and GG. Spore Colony, the occasional Devourer, Scourge, Hydra, Muta I've seen, all not enough. The carriers are too strong, and supply-wise this is running way out of control. Finally it's found a way, but it can't really communicate to the main base anymore. That's something that Steamhammer could improve upon, but by now the main carrier fleet is targeting the last bases, and that is going to be the GG. What more have I got? Okay, well, let's do it quickly. I've got too many games because I like these old bots so much that I can show their games all day. I've taken the liberty to show a game of Eric Hammer's. Eric Hammer, of course, the dominant Zerg of the moment. And let's see how it's going to fare. Thomas Vidas, Ximp, is, no surprise, going to sit back behind a lot of cannons and build carriers. Haha. Oh, slow down, boy. Eric Hammer is pressing H for victory, taking, like we saw Steamhammer do earlier, taking a lot of bases, building a lot of production units, and going for Hydras and plowing them into this pylon. Into the pylon, and now going for the cannons. And that's a good decision, because if you kill the cannons, the natural is defenseless, and there is no money for Ximp. Of course, it's got a lot of money, but there is not enough money for interceptors anymore. And that's a Hydra bust of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, and it looks like to be pretty effective, because the natural is down, there is no more defense, and Ximp hasn't really got the time to bake interceptors anymore. So looks like a hard counter build, like we saw Eric Hammer do versus Iron as well. Pretty well done, but AI-wise, I'd say it's not a victory. Same can be said of scores for Thomas Vidas Ximp, that it's a hard-coded build order. But the challenge sometimes is to defeat a hard-countered build order with adaptive play, and the Hydras are just too much in this instance. Eric Hammer just building Hydra upon Hydra, and by now it's way out of control. There is a lot of army supply for Ximp, but without interceptors that's pretty much dead army supply. And Eric Hammer is going to... Wow, that's really power play. 5 bases, and if you let a Zerg sit back so long, build 5 bases, of course that's what you can expect. So, last game... Oh, what's that? Okay. Why would that be? It might be because the replay size is 5 megabytes. Okay, well, sorry. Can't show you a game of Ximp versus TSC Terran, which is by and large one of the most adaptive bots I think there is. So we are going to go into the next game, which is going to be no surprises there. Oh god. going to be, ta-da, Ice Labs. And Ice Labs is, of course, the monster of yore. It used to be dominant until about 2 years ago, when Crazy TSCMU started overtaking it, and now all kinds of bots are mopping the ground with it. But it is still a magnificent team effort of the Ritsumeikan University in Japan. Lots of people have worked on it, and it shows. It's got so many cool functionalities. It's I'm going to show you if you haven't seen it already. It's got this nice functionality where it will wall off the natural and then be able to take the natural in comparative safety. Nice wall, nothing going to go in there, and the scout is there as usual. bwapi I took for its ghostiness. Of course, I like to have a bit of a strong opponent to demonstrate the prowess that is Icebot. And this is quite a nice wall-off. SCV there just in case. And Marines coming off to help kill the scouting probe. Oh, that's a bit of a pity. In this particular map you've got this small inlet here which will let the Marines kill the scouting probe. Expansion for bwapi 2. And Ice is saving up money as well, going for the expansion of its own. Then going for a little bit of mech play, not many Marines, and the initial pressure of these few gateway units not going to come off the ground. And this is one of the cool features I must show you about Icebot, because I need to show you, I would need to show you a couple of games. I've got only one more after this. But the terrain analysis of Icebot is still among the best, if not the best, because it can use these kind of terrain features to get a safer position for these tanks. It can also use high ground, perhaps we'll see that later. But for now, it's going to be all about bwapi taking another base at the sort of hidden base across the map. Didn't know it would be able to do that, or it could do that. I knew, of course, it would be able to do that because you just move over a probe and start the base. And Icebot was the one starting off with mining up all the expansions. And here we go again, caught in the act, which will make it necessary for the enemy to do something with that. You can't just move over a probe and start a building. You need to clear that mine first, or build your town hall slightly off. And now we see the first skirmishes in the middle of the map. bwapi, of course, with the superior supply, as you would expect from Protoss versus Terran. Terran just sitting back, and look at this perfect geometrical minefield. That's something that Icebot is known for as well. If you look at the minimap, it is absolutely perfect. And with the tanks could be a little bit more over here, but they've got a good enough position with the bunkers. 2 bunkers now. And this is a bit of a googloo. I don't think these Marines are enjoying themselves very much. The tanks can't really range that, and they are not really managing at the moment. Ooh, that mine was really good. And now these tanks just blast down every goon in sight. But the third base up for Protoss. So GG, and all the bases by now, save this one, have been mined. Of course, as a Terran you can see your own mines, and it would be easy to just attack it with an SUV, which happens a lot, and clean it up. And Icebot was attacking this this depot to make more room to maneuver out, and has now decided that it needs to be stopping this Reaver here. The Reaver making its way out. Ice really haven't got the anti-air at this moment, and ooh, that shuttle is doing a lot of damage. Meanwhile, another poke from the front, and that depot has been killed. A couple of turrets now coming on the map, and that's just Ice's response to an air unit. And yep, there goes the shuttle, there goes the Reaver. So Ice is pretty adaptive as it is, and it will be looking to expand its... And here we go. This probe is trying to build a nexus here, but it can't. And then as an author or a bot, you've got to figure out, well, what is this thing? And bwapi, of course, has found a way. It's sending an observer, and now a nexus can be placed. So Ice will have to do something in the near future if it isn't going to be playing 2 versus the map, 2 base versus the map, of course the mech ball is growing, and that is going to be a problem for any Protoss or Zerg or Terran opponent anywhere in the world. Here comes the Reaver again, trying to find a target. No Goliaths yet, so that's maybe a problem. And has found a very good spot. That is, oh god. That is why you can... and making its way out. Finally a Goliath pops up, but kills only the Observer. And that's a lot of damage done. Now 4 bases versus 2, and Icebot is going to have to be playing defensively. Now with Storm, with Arbiters 2, and let's go down to normal fastest speed, because it's going to be a heroic defense for Icebot, and Icebot of course will need to defend its third. The third has been built, the tanks are doing a lot of damage, there are scans, there are a couple of Arbiters. That's unfortunate for Protoss, because this just serves as a wall for the other tanks to cower behind. But the third is going to be torn down if this Terran blob doesn't move out pretty quickly. And Cloaked Reavers are pretty effective in dismantling partly built command centers. And now Terran is just feeling the pressure, because the Goliaths are in the rear. That's not the place for them to be. The third is... There is an SUV, but the third is down. There it goes. And bWreaver taking another base. So the macro is going to be insane, and Ice is sitting back just a little bit too much for my taste. Supply is double for bWreaver, and although there are quite a bit of workers among that, and Ice has got the tanks, the main is getting low. So many workers have been lost. This shuttle is coming in again, and now going after the turrets. And that is the difference between a modern day bot and an older one. That you've got to be so good about all kinds of harass. Oh, and that weak pot. Oh, that is hurtful. That, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There's such a lot of damage done. And back at the front with the Arbiters, with the Reavers. Storms in reserve. The tanks are being engaged by Zealots. That's not a good sign. And the Shuttle Reaver's back there again. bWreaver is maxed, and although Ice is putting up a great defense, it's not really... Whoa, look at the blanketing of Storms. It is just too much. It's 0 versus 100 army supply. I call the GG and go into the next game, and I hope that I can show at least one victory of Ice Labs, because it's such a beauty. And it's such a sight to behold. As an opponent, I've chosen Ziabot, which of course is a very good opponent, taking 3rd place in CIG last year. So a victory for Ice is by no means a given. And I'd like to give him a fair shot, both players. And as I've been able to show last game, the terrain usage and the godly mines. Yeah, there we go. Ziabot going for a pretty safe play, with a couple of units, with a couple of Sunkens, lots of Sunkens again. And the worker count's pretty low. Ice is... oh, the army count's pretty low. Worker count for Ice is going to be out of control. And, ooh, just barely holds, barely holds. And now we see turrets, which means that Ice has spotted a lair. And if it's going to be a lair, well, it might be lurkers as well, so you're going to need turrets for that too, to scout them if you're not want to drain all your comsats. But the main enemy of Ice was the Berkeley Overmind, which was all about meter play. So basically, if you could stop the Overmind, you could stop any bot in its tracks, and with good play like Icebot has always been showing, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Again, we see here the position with the tanks. And once this position has been filled, Hydras would have to move over here, and then they couldn't see them. So if you got vision here by a couple of Marines, you can, with this tank position, do a lot of damage. And, oh, that's not... I wouldn't recommend that, because that's just taking an expansion in Ice Lab's front yard. And these tanks are going to shoot down any Hydra that may be coming into sight. Lots of factories, no fancy tech yet. Just going to be about siege tanks, and Gia would be well advised to take the bases in this direction. 3rd being taken for Ice, and the position Ice is in now looks much better. Giabot is making a couple of workers more, got a couple of queens, that was a good decision, but I would say, yep, there you go, that you need at least one more base and more units. And Ice is going for more tech, for more upgrades, and might do something about that. Sunken with the tanks. One Hydra. Hello, welcome. Oh god, for a moment I thought it was going to walk in, walk out, but no dice. The Sunken has been torn down, and now it's on Geobot to be able to do something against these massive tanks. The army supply is more than double for ice at this point. And although the first couple of vultures are going to go down, when the tanks start blasting, it's going to be a sad, sad story for Zerg. And we've got a dropship. Hello, let's see what it's going to do. It's going to pick up a tank. Oh, that's always a good idea. But the main problem is for Ice and ISO having found an undefended expansion here. Well, only 2 Zergens and an unfinished Sunken. Not really too much. Oh, that's a link. Oh, there's that dropship. Let's keep an eye on that. But the 3rd base will be attacked and will be razed to the ground. And the 3rd, of course, up. 4th, and that is the dropship. What's it going to do? Where is it going? Okay. It's got 1 tank at least. No, the Zerglings have got a bad premonition that something awful is going to be happening. The tanks here are milling about a bit. Oh, hello. It's a good thing there is no Spore or a Muta. Oh, that's so pretty pro. I was really hoping that Ice would do that. Because on this map you've got this cliffable area, 4 Mutas, 4 tanks. And Ice will drop 2 tanks and fly a dropship over. Unfortunately, there are queens. And that's a pretty pro defense against a thing like this, but by now the damage will have been done, and although the tanks have not really succeeded in killing off the 3rd, the tank thing is shut down, and now the dropship is taking the same route back. What the hell is that about? Well, detracting a lot of the army of Geobots. And basically that is about the end of this broadcast about the old school AIs. They have been kicking ass for so long, and they are still high up on the ladder doing their thing. And look at this massive tanks. It's going to be hard to stop for Geobot, if at all. And will we have another dropship drop? I don't know where it is. Oh well, yeah, we have a couple of vultures in here. And that's the dropship. What's it going to do next? I don't know. It's found something else to do. No, we've got 2 dropships here doing nothing. But the main is been occupied. The natural's been broken, and there is a 3rd with 3 SCVs mining, drones mining there. So this was, oh nice Brootlings. This was a tribute to the golden oldies, Roman Danielis, Ximp, Whopper, and of course Icebot and Skynet, not forgetting Skynet. I hope you can pick up some pointers. Look at that queen train weaving frantically and dying to 1 Goliath. Hope you can learn something from that. If not, just admire these beautiful pieces of coding from way back in the days. For now, I thank you. You know all about our website. You can watch these bots play and play against them. Learn to code AIs. For now, just say good day, see you next time, and have a great summer. Goodbye.